Hey there, this is Sara, and welcome back to Talk Fluent. In today's episode, you'll find out your real English level. Beginner, elementary, intermediate, upper intermediate, advanced, or maybe even expert. No test, no teacher, just your ears and a little bit of focus. You'll listen to 6 short stories, one for each level. If one story feels easy, but the next one feels a bit harder, that's exactly how you discover your level. We'll start with level A1, the beginner level. Here, English is simple and clear. Short sentences. Common, easy words. If you can understand this without much effort, congratulations. You're already at least A1.
Hi, I'm Emma. I live with my parents in a small, quiet house. There are 3 rooms, a living room, a kitchen, and my bedroom. Our home is always clean and bright. There's a nice park near our house. Every evening, I go there with my cat, Luna. She likes to walk and chase butterflies. I sit on a bench and watch the trees move in the wind. The park is green and peaceful. In the morning, I wake up at 7. I get dressed and have breakfast in the kitchen. I eat bread with cheese and drink tea. After that, I brush my teeth and leave for work. I work in a small bookstore, just a few minutes from home. I walk there every day. It takes about 10 minutes. In the shop, I help people find books. I smile, talk, and sometimes read when it's quiet. My boss is friendly, and my job is simple. At noon, I have lunch, usually rice or soup. Sometimes I drink a little coffee. When the clock says 5, I finish work and go home. I feel a bit tired, but happy. In the evening, I cook dinner with my mom. We eat together and talk about our day. After dinner, I wash the dishes. Then I watch a little TV or listen to music. Sometimes I read before bed. At 10 o'clock, I go to sleep. Luna sleeps beside me. Before I close my eyes, I think about my day, and I feel thankful. My life is simple, but it's a good life.
All right. If that story felt easy to understand, congratulations! Your English is already at least A1. You can follow short sentences and simple, familiar topics. Now, let's take the next step. Level A2, the elementary level. Here, English becomes a little richer and a little more connected. The sentences get longer, and the ideas start to flow together. You'll hear stories about daily life, about plans, routines, and simple conversations. So just listen. And if you can understand the next story without much effort, you're already at least A2.
My name's Daniel. I live in a small apartment just outside the city. It's not very big, but it feels just right for me. There's a cozy kitchen, a quiet bedroom, and a small living room with a big window. From there, I can see the park and a few tall trees. Every morning, I hear birds singing. It's a nice way to start the day. I work in an office close to home. Most days, I walk to work. It only takes about 10 minutes. But when it rains, I take the bus instead. My job starts at 8:30 and finishes at 5. I answer phone calls, reply to emails, and help my manager with little tasks. My coworkers are kind and easy to talk to. At lunchtime, I go to a small cafe with two of them. We sit by the window and talk about our families, or what we'll do on the weekend. Sometimes we laugh so much because one of them loves telling funny stories. After work, I don't go home right away. I usually stop by the gym for about an hour. I stretch, lift some weights, and listen to music on my phone. When I'm done, I feel tired but relaxed. Around 7 o'clock, I head home. I take a shower, change my clothes, and cook something simple for dinner. Sometimes I eat while watching my favorite show. On weekends, my days look a little different. I meet friends downtown. We grab coffee, walk around, and sometimes watch a movie together. If the weather is nice, we sit in the park and just talk for hours. Life feels calm. And that's exactly how I like it.
Okay, well done. If that story felt easy to understand, congratulations. Your English is already at least A2. You can follow short, connected sentences about daily life, work, and free time. Now, let's move up to the next step. Level B1, the intermediate level. Here, English starts to feel more natural and expressive. The stories are longer, and the ideas go a little deeper. If you can listen to the next story and understand the main message, you're already around B1, or maybe even higher.
My name's Ethan, and I work as a computer technician. I repair laptops, set up new software, and help people when their devices suddenly stop working. I've been doing this job for about 6 years now, and honestly, I still enjoy it. What I love about it is the balance between logic and creativity. Every problem is different, and finding the right answer feels a bit like solving a puzzle. My day starts at 8 in the morning. When I get to the office, I make myself a cup of coffee and check the repair list for the day. Some issues are small, maybe a slow computer, or a screen that freezes too often. But sometimes the problems are big, and I spend hours testing each part to find what's wrong. It can be tiring, but when I finally fix something, it feels amazing. The people I work with are kind and supportive. If someone gets stuck, we help each other out. I really believe teamwork makes everything easier. You can always learn something new from others. After work, I like to clear my mind. I don't go home right away. Usually, I take a short walk to the park near the office. I listen to some music, or just enjoy the quiet around me. When I get home, I cook a simple dinner and watch something online, often a documentary or a short film in English. In the evenings, I study. I'm taking an online course to learn about new computer systems, because one day I want to start my own business. It's a lot of effort, but I know it's worth it. I want to be independent and help people in my own way. On weekends, I usually take it easy. Sometimes I meet friends for coffee, and sometimes I go hiking outside the city. It's my way to recharge and start a new week fresh.
All right. If that story felt clear and natural to you, that's a great sign. It means your English is already at least B1. You can understand connected ideas and follow everyday stories with ease. Now, let's take the next step. Level B2, the upper intermediate level. Here, English starts to sound more fluent, more confident, and more expressive. You'll hear longer stories with deeper thoughts and richer details. You'll also notice more natural phrases, comparisons, and reflections about life and work. So get comfortable. And let's move on to the next story.
My name's Clara, and I work as a freelance graphic designer. For several years, I was part of a big company, designing logos, posters, and online ads for different brands. The job was stable, the people were nice, and the pay was good. But after some time, I started to feel stuck. Every day looked exactly the same desk, the same projects, the same small talk over coffee. From the outside, everything seemed perfect. But inside, I felt empty. Something was missing. I wasn't growing anymore. I wanted more freedom, more creativity, and more control over my own time. So, about 2 years ago, I made one of the biggest choices of my life. I quit my job and decided to work for myself. I still remember my last day in that office. My team gave me flowers, said beautiful things, and wished me luck. But deep inside, I was a mix of excitement and fear. I didn't have a plan, no clients, no idea where to start. But I knew one thing: if I didn't try, I'd always wonder what if. The first months were really hard. I woke up early every morning, opened my laptop, and searched for work online. I wrote messages to small businesses, emailed old contacts, and built a simple website to show my designs. Some days, no one answered. Other days, a client wanted a design, but offered to pay almost nothing. It was tough to stay motivated. There were nights I worked for 10 hours and earned almost nothing. I cried more than once and thought about going back to my old job. But deep down, I knew I needed to give it time. So I kept going. I told myself every small effort counts. Every email, every sketch, every new skill was leading me somewhere. To grow faster, I started learning again. I watched free design courses online, joined webinars, and read articles about freelancing and marketing. Little by little, things began to change. I learned that freelancing isn't just about being talented. It's also about how you communicate and stay organized. You need to explain your ideas clearly, manage your time well, and handle different types of clients with patience. Gradually, things began to improve. My work became stronger, my confidence grew, and new clients started reaching out. Some came through recommendations, friends of people who appreciated my designs. That's when I realized I was on the right path. Today, my routine is very different. Mornings usually start around 8. I make a cup of coffee, check emails, and jot down the tasks I want to accomplish. My living room doubles as my workspace. It's cozy and bright, with a large window that lets in plenty of sunlight. I've decorated it with plants and art prints, so it feels personal and calm, unlike the noisy, gray office I used to sit in. On busy days, I can spend hours working at my desk, completely focused. But I make sure to take short breaks every now and then. Stretching, drinking tea, or watering my plants. Sometimes I like to step outside for a few minutes just to take a deep breath of fresh air. When the weather is nice, I even bring my laptop to a nearby cafe and work there for a couple of hours. Hearing the chatter of people around me and the soft clinking of cups makes me feel less alone. The best part of freelancing is the freedom it gives. I get to choose the projects I want to work on and decide how I want to complete them. If I want to take a few days off, I can. If I feel like working late at night, no one stops me. This flexibility is something I never had before, and it has completely changed the way I feel about my work. I can plan my schedule according to my energy levels, not just office hours. And that's the freedom I really value. Of course, it isn't always easy. There are challenges that people don't see. Working alone means no one is around to give feedback or say, "You're doing a good job." Sometimes I miss having colleagues to laugh with or to ask for advice. Money isn't always consistent either. One month might be full of projects and good payments, and the next month can be surprisingly quiet. That can feel stressful, especially when bills need to be paid. Over time, I've learned to plan ahead. When I earn more, I save for the slower months. Freelancing has taught me responsibility and long-term thinking. I've also learned how to manage clients and not take criticism personally. At first, I felt disappointed when someone didn't like a design. Now I understand that everyone has a different perspective. Good communication is key. If you listen carefully and ask the right questions, you can usually find a solution that works for everyone. Another lesson I've learned is to believe in yourself. When you work alone, no one is there to motivate you. You have to create that energy from within. I remind myself that every project, big or small, is a chance to learn and improve. If something goes wrong, I try to see it as part of the process, not as failure. In the evenings, I like to disconnect completely from work. I close my laptop, put away my phone, and do something that helps me relax. Sometimes, I go for a run to clear my head. Other times, I meet friends for dinner and enjoy catching up. And there are moments when I simply listen to calm music while I cook. I also enjoy drawing, not for clients, but just for myself. When I draw for fun, it feels like being a child again. There's no pressure, no deadlines, and no one watching over my shoulder. These moments remind me why I became a designer in the first place. I love creating something from nothing. When I finish a small drawing that I truly like, I feel a sense of freedom. That simple joy. That feeling of being fully in the moment is exactly what I was looking for when I decided to leave my old job. Looking back, I feel proud of the risk I took. It wasn't easy. In fact, it was one of the toughest decisions I've ever made. But it changed me in ways I never expected. I've become more organized, more patient, and much more confident. And the most important lesson I've learned is this: independence doesn't mean being alone. It means taking responsibility for your choices and trusting yourself enough to build your own path. Patience is key. You have to move slowly, step by step, believing that the journey you're on will lead to something meaningful, and it does. I may not earn as much as I did before, and I don't have a large team around me, but every morning I wake up proud of the life I'm creating. I've built a life that truly feels like mine. Every time I finish a project or hear that a client is happy with my work, I smile and think, yes, this is exactly where I'm meant to be.
If you understood this story easily, well done. Your English is at an upper intermediate level or even higher. Now it's time to step up to more advanced English, C1 advanced level. Here, English becomes truly natural and expressive. You'll encounter more abstract ideas, longer sentences, and deeper reflections about work and life. Pay attention to how ideas connect and how emotions are conveyed through rhythm and word choice.
My name is David, and I work as a project manager at a technology company. I've been in this field for almost 10 years, and along the way, I've noticed something quite interesting. Managing people is often more complicated than managing projects. Projects have clear timelines, budgets, and measurable results. People, however, bring emotions, ideas, and completely different perspectives to the same situation. Finding the balance between the two is what makes my work both fascinating and, at times, challenging. My typical day begins early. I like to get to the office before anyone else, while it's still quiet. That first hour really sets the tone for the rest of the day. I brew a cup of coffee, open my laptop, and check the status of ongoing projects. I read messages from clients, review updates from the team, and try to anticipate potential issues. This is my time to think, plan, and get ready before the office buzz starts. Once the team arrives, the atmosphere changes, movement, conversations, a shared sense of purpose. Sometimes we're creating a brand new app. Other times we're refining an existing system. Each task demands coordination between developers, designers, and clients. My role isn't about doing the technical work myself. It's about ensuring everyone has what they need to succeed. I connect people, remove obstacles, and keep everyone aligned. In a sense, I act as a bridge, linking different parts of the process so communication flows smoothly. When someone feels stuck or stressed, my instinct is to listen first, not to issue orders. It took me years to understand that leadership doesn't mean having all the answers. It means creating a space where people feel safe to ask questions and share ideas. Most workplace problems aren't about a lack of skill. They come from misunderstandings or poor communication. If you can make people feel heard, they often find their own solutions. I've also learned that good leadership isn't about control. It's about trust. When your team trusts you, they'll be honest. They'll admit mistakes, offer feedback, and take responsibility. But trust doesn't form overnight. It's something you build gradually through consistency, fairness, and respect. You can't simply demand it, you have to earn it. In my team, I aim to be transparent about every decision. When something goes wrong, we discuss it openly. I'd rather have honest, even uncomfortable conversations than silent frustration. People appreciate clarity, even when it's not easy to hear. When the team understands the reasoning behind a decision, they accept it more readily, even if they don't fully agree. And when things go well, I make a point to celebrate it, even in small ways. A message of thanks, a quick team lunch, or a few words of recognition, it costs nothing, but it makes a difference. Of course, not everything runs perfectly. Deadlines shift. Clients change their minds, unexpected technical issues appear. In those moments, my job is to keep everyone calm and focused. If I panic, the team will panic too. So I stay grounded and remind everyone that mistakes are part of the process, not signs of failure. We talk through what happened, solve it together, and move forward. Blaming doesn't help. Learning does. It's about turning setbacks into lessons. One project I'll never forget was a major software launch 2 years ago. We thought everything was ready. But 2 days before the release, the system crashed during testing. The whole team stayed late, exhausted and frustrated, trying to find the issue. Instead of pushing harder, I suggested we take a short break. We ordered some food, stepped outside, and just talked, not about work, but about anything else. About an hour later, one developer suddenly spotted the bug. It took only 10 minutes to fix. That experience taught me something important. Sometimes progress happens when you stop forcing it. Pressure can blind you, while stepping back brings clarity. I often reflect on how much my work has taught me about life in general. Both at work and in life, everything comes down to communication. When we speak clearly and listen carefully, problems shrink. When we ignore, assume, or rush, small issues grow into bigger ones. That's why I aim to stay honest and calm, even under pressure. I've learned that tone can be more powerful than words. A kind voice can solve what hundreds of emails cannot. Another lesson is about resilience, the ability to bounce back when things go wrong. Projects fail, clients change their minds, budgets shift. But with a steady mindset, you can always rebuild. I tell my team, resilience is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. When something doesn't work, we don't see it as wasted time. We see it as training for the next challenge. After long days full of meetings, screens, and deadlines, I crave silence. That's why I enjoy quiet activities like walking, reading, or cooking. Cooking is almost meditative for me. It's one of the few times I can focus on a single task, chopping vegetables, mixing flavors, letting something simmer. It's a reminder that not everything needs to move fast to be meaningful. I also love reading, especially biographies and psychology books. They help me understand people better, which makes me a better manager. Sometimes I see my own behavior reflected in those stories, and it motivates me to grow. I've realized that learning doesn't end when you leave school. It continues quietly, every day, through the people you meet and the situations you face. People often ask me if I ever get bored doing simple things after a busy workday. I don't. For me, peace isn't something you find by escaping life. It's something you create through your responses. It's a choice, a daily practice. I've learned to distinguish what I can control from what I can't. That, I believe, is one of the hardest, yet most valuable lessons of adulthood. If there's one thing my career has taught me, it's that success isn't just about completing projects or hitting goals. It's about growing as a person along the way. Every challenge teaches me something new about patience, listening, and empathy. Leadership isn't learned from books or titles. You learn it through experience, through people, through mistakes. You learn it in the moments when everything falls apart and you're the one holding it together. And in those moments, you realize that leadership and life isn't about control. It's about connection. The more you listen, the more people trust you. The more you trust them, the better they perform. And when the team succeeds, it's never just your success. It's shared. That's the most rewarding part of my work, watching people grow, seeing them gain the confidence to lead others one day. So yes, managing projects is complex. But managing people, helping them believe in themselves, helping them find purpose, that's the real challenge and the real joy. Because at the end of every project, what stays with you isn't the reports or numbers. It's the people, the lessons, and the quiet satisfaction of knowing that, in some small way, you made a difference.
Excellent! If that story felt natural and easy to follow, congratulations! Your English is solidly at C1. Now, let's step into C2, the expert level. Here, language becomes effortless, graceful, and full of subtle emotion. You'll notice delicate ideas, rare words, and a smooth, gentle rhythm in every sentence.
My name is Eleanor, and over the years, I've come to understand that the hardest part of life isn't simply making decisions. It's grasping what they really mean. When we're young, we imagine that every choice opens a door to something better. A better job, a new city, a better version of ourselves. We step through one door after another, rarely pausing to notice what we leave behind. Eventually, looking back, it becomes clear that every decision brings both gain and loss. Something is gained, something left behind. For a long time, I chased progress without a clear direction. I changed jobs, moved cities, shifted dreams, always telling myself I was moving forward. That sometimes I wasn't moving toward anything at all. I was just running away from stillness. There's a peculiar kind of fear in stillness, as if silence might reveal truths we've been avoiding. It took me years to see that silence isn't empty. It's full of resonance, quiet lessons that appear only when the noise fades. Nowadays, I live differently. My mornings are slow. I make coffee, open the window, and let the light spill across the floor. That brief, gentle moment feels like the most honest part of my day. I don't rush to check messages or plans. I simply sit and listen to the hum of the world, to my own thoughts, to whatever speaks in the space between things. I used to believe that meaning came from action. Now I know it grows from reflection. I still work as a consultant, but my relationship with work has changed. What once felt like pressure now feels like practice. Yes, it's technical and logical, but I try to discover the human side within all that structure. I believe real progress isn't measured by how fast systems run. It happens when the people within them start to feel truly understood. You can redesign an entire organization, but if you don't transform the inner growth of its people, how they see themselves, how they connect with others, then nothing really changes. Outside of work, I write. Not for an audience, but for awareness, reflection, and clarity. Writing is like a mirror that doesn't flatter. It simply tells the truth. It shows me where my thoughts begin and where they resist coming to an end. Some days, I write about the past. Not to live there, but to learn from it. Other days, I write about the future. Not to predict it, but to make peace with not knowing. Sometimes words bring a sense of clarity that can't be fully captured. A feeling that exists, even if it can't be put into exact terms. Lately, I've been reflecting on time. Not as something that passes, but as something we move through. Some moments feel vast and endless, while others vanish before we even notice. I've realized that the quality of time depends less on what we do and more on how present we are while doing it. A single moment of presence can feel longer than a whole day spent rushing. I used to believe growth meant collecting, achievements, experiences, recognition. Now I see it differently. Growth is subtraction. It's the art of letting go, making space for what truly matters. We live in a world obsessed with addition. More goals, more activity, more noise. But real wisdom comes from knowing when to stop, when to rest, when to say, this is enough. Perhaps that is what freedom really is. Freedom, I've realized, isn't about doing whatever we want. It's about understanding that we don't need to do everything. To me, true freedom is a quiet balance, the calm that comes when we stop measuring life by what we can hold and start noticing what we can truly appreciate. The older I get, the more I see that peace isn't waiting at the end of some distant road. It walks beside us every day, in the rhythm of our own footsteps, in the warmth of early sunlight, and in the quiet certainty that life is happening right now. And that right now is already enough.
You did it! If this story felt natural to you, that means your English has reached a beautiful place, clear, confident, and deeply connected. But remember, fluency isn't a finish line. Even now, there's still so much to discover. New words, new feelings, new ways to understand yourself through this language. And that's the heart of today's journey. From beginner to advanced, from understanding words to feeling them. You've listened, reflected, and grown, step by step, story by story. Some parts felt easy, others asked for more patience, and that's okay. That's how learning really works. Language isn't just something you study. It's something you live. So as you go on with your day, keep your curiosity alive. Keep learning. Keep listening. Keep speaking. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. I'm Sara, and this was Talk Fluent. And as always, speak with heart, not just words. See you next time.